Choosing where to live is a significant decision for any actor. The right location can greatly impact an actor's career opportunities, lifestyle, and overall well-being. This episode explores the factors actors should consider when deciding where to call home, the benefits and challenges of various cities, and practical tips for making the best choice. You've tuned into Casting Actors Cast.
This is Casting Actors Cast. Jeffrey Dreisbach brings you insights and inspiration. Make a difference in your acting and your acting career. Here's Jeffrey Dreisbach.
Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. I'm a casting partner with the McCorkle Group in New York. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. Hey, listen, thanks for tuning in to this episode. I'm looking forward to sharing some information. I don't think I've done an episode on this particular subject before, so I'm really excited to sort of, break apart some of the considerations that you might have in terms of where do I go? Perhaps you've just graduated from a college or a university and you're wondering, okay, well, I'm not sure whether it's New York or California or other cities. We're going to talk about all of that, okay? But first, this is that moment in the podcast where I simply get to thank you so much for tuning in to Casting Actors Cast. It's been such a pleasure sharing these podcasts with you for the past, 6 years. I can't kind of believe it. I'm also so grateful that you're listening through the Broadway Podcast Network. I've been invited to join a handful of weeks ago, and it's been growing and going exceedingly well, and I couldn't be more excited and more appreciative. Hey, listen, why don't you go to the website, castingactorscast, alloneword.com. The reason why? There's a form that says dive into the talent pool. That gives me your name and your email address. By the way, I don't do anything with that. I might on occasion send out a notice or a notification, but I promise you I don't spam you. I don't send, stuff on a weekly basis, nothing like that. But if you do that, then you're going to get an opportunity to download a PDF book on doing voiceover work called Conversation Pieces Out of the Studio, the voiceover workshop for professional actors, written by, me. Yeah, I wrote the book. That is a free download now. You could buy it on Amazon if you want to spend $15 for it, but no, you can also have it for free. Why not? The next thing that's available to you is a free video. It's a 20-minute video called Casting Secrets, What They Don't Tell You. That's a free link to the YouTube account, and you can take a look at those videos. By the way, all of the podcasts are being simulcast on YouTube. So you can not only watch me do the podcast, but you can see the information as well by going to the website, figuring out which podcast you might want to take a look at. We're changing up some of our graphics, and some stuff is going on behind the scenes, which I'm really excited about. A lot of cool things are going on here at the podcast. Anyway, so that's the freebies that you can get. Also, there's Jeff's Jots. Now, Jeff's Jots literally are the show notes for each of the corresponding episodes. So, because I know I talk fast and I'm kind of juiced up most of the time, juiced up, is that a word? Well, it is now. The thing of it is, you might want to get and have something in your hand, something that you can read, look over. Consider them show notes, but they're there to help you understand some of the concepts that we are talking about. Should I get confused? Should I say something that doesn't quite make sense? Perhaps going to Jeff's Jots can help clear up some of those thoughts. And then finally, I would love it if you could leave me a like, a thumbs up, a review. Any of those things, especially on iTunes, makes such a significant difference to the podcast. And as long as I know that there are folks out there listening and enjoying the work that I'm doing, I'm going to continue to do the work. If that doesn't happen, then, no harm, no foul. But the only thing I ask is that you consider leaving a review, a thumbs up, any kind of a review. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, all that, I don't have to tell you all that stuff. All right. I think that's it. Oh, my good friends at Actors Connection, actorsconnection.com/New York. Really cool folks doing really amazing work with professionals in the industry. You should really check that out. And then finally, Creative Coaching Partners has my course up online called The Art of the Audition. I invite you to go to the website and you see the click right there. It says Creative Coaching Partners. It's a paid course that you can take all about auditioning. So if you really want to get the inside scoop on the best way to prepare and feel comfortable and confident about your auditioning, this is the place to go. Like I said, it's a paid course, so I'm not trying to, give everything away for free, but this is something through Creative Coaching Partners. I agreed to do this because I think it is of value, and that's why I'm doing it. So I think we got everything out of the way. All right, let's jump into the subject, shall we? Factors to consider when you're making a decision about where you want to move to, where you want to take your talent and your storytelling skills and your newly trained self to a city or a location, or perhaps you're thinking about relocating to another place. I'm going to give you some factors to consider. First of all, I think it's important first and foremost to consider career opportunities. And the kind of career opportunities that I'm talking about is the industry hub. The proximity to major entertainment industry hubs can provide a more access to auditions and networking opportunities. You know what I'm talking about. Cities like Los Angeles and New York and London are renowned for their active film, television, and theater scenes. The next thing to consider, the type of work. You should know that it's true that different cities specialize in various types of work. For example, Los Angeles is known for film and television. I also happen to know that their theater is kind of waning. It's not as strong as New York, for example, because New York has lots of theater, Broadway, off-Broadway, all kinds of amazing opportunities to meet industry folks, and in an accessible way, I think. Also, you should know I'm a little partial to New York, only because I live and work here, but there are a lot of film and television projects shooting here in New York as well. Some new studio facilities opening in upstate New York has really been aggressive about bringing film and television production to the area. So there's studios going up all over the place and some really amazing work happening in New York, but that's my sort of, I'm not impartial. But also you consider Atlanta. Atlanta has got this really growing, energized sense about it happening right now, thanks in part to Tyler Perry's film production company, his studio production company, which he opened and kept open during COVID, was amazing that they were able to continue to produce excellent projects, even during that terrible, terrible time we all kind of suffered through. Here's another thing to consider in terms of where to live: cost of living. Cost of living includes, for example, housing. Now listen, consider the cost of renting or buying a home. Now, major cities can be really, really expensive. You probably know this already. It's important to budget yourself accordingly. Take a look at your everyday expenses, for example. Look into the cost of food and transportation, utilities, and other daily expenses to ensure they fit within your budget. Also, it's important, I think, to take a look at the quality of life, lifestyle preferences. Think about your preferred lifestyle. Do you enjoy the fast pace of a big city? Or do you prefer a quieter, suburban, or rural setting? There's also amenities and services to consider. The availability of amenities such as like gyms and parks and cultural activities and healthcare services. There's also the networking community to consider. For example, industry networks. Being in a location with a strong community of actors and agents and casting directors can be really beneficial for networking and career growth. Also, something to consider: the support system. Having friends, family, or a supportive community can help you navigate the ups and downs of an acting career. Also, throwing into this mix, transportation and accessibility. Public transportation, access to reliable public transportation can be crucial, especially if you don't own a car. Travel convenience. Consider the ease of traveling to auditions and rehearsals and gigs, as well as the availability of major airports for potential out-of-town work. You also might want to consider a few of the city profiles that I'm about to share with you. Let's talk about Los Angeles. There are some really great pluses about LA. As the heart of the film and television industry, Los Angeles offers abundant opportunities for auditions, networking, and industry events. The city really also enjoys a really nice climate and diverse cultural scene. Transportation, on the other hand, can be an issue. You really have to have a car. You really have to not mind traffic on a regular basis. It takes time to get from one audition to another in Los Angeles, there's no doubt about it. Another negative is the high cost of living. A competitive environment can really be challenging for a lot of actors. Housing can be particularly expensive, especially in desirable neighborhoods that are close to industry hotspots. Now let's shift our focus to New York City. Here are some pluses. It's really known for its vibrant theater scene, including Broadway and off-Broadway. New York City is ideal for stage actors. The city also has a very rich cultural life with numerous museums and galleries and nightlifes, but there are definitely some negatives. You might have heard of these already. The cost of living is crazy high. And apartments are often small and super expensive. The city is very fast-paced, and the intensity can be kind of overwhelming for some folks. So it's important that you think about those factors when thinking about moving to New York. And I'll have some suggestions for exactly how to prepare for New York and Los Angeles and some other places as well. But now let's take a look at London. Now, London boasts a prestigious theater scene, including the West End, as well as opportunities in film and television. As you might know, the city is culturally very rich with a diverse population, and it has that, oh my goodness, that historic charm. But there are, of course, some negatives. It, too, has very high living costs, especially for housing. And, of course, I don't have to tell you about the gloomy weather. The city's size and the traffic can make commuting a real challenge. Now, some other I call them lesser markets, but let's take a look at Atlanta. Atlanta's become a major hub for film and television production. It's often called the Hollywood of the South. Now, the cost of living is lower in Los Angeles or New York than in New York or Los Angeles, and the city offers a warm climate and, there's that southern hospitality. But there are some negatives. There are fewer opportunities for stage actors compared to New York or London. The industry is growing, but it may not yet match the scale of traditional hubs like New York or Los Angeles. Now let's talk about some secondary markets. Cities like Chicago, Vancouver, and Toronto also offer robust opportunities in theater, film, and television. These cities often have lower costs of living and less competition than major industry hubs. Also, Florida, a right-to-work state, meaning you don't necessarily have to be a member of the union. Of course, you have Disney World in Orlando. You have film production taking place all throughout Florida. For example, Miami, Sarasota. Those are places where you can find really good theater as well as some film and television production happening. Now, have you thought about international opportunities? Now, depending upon language skills and your career goals, cities like Paris, Berlin, Mumbai, they might offer opportunities and experiences that you might not have thought of. But let's take a look at some practical tips, some really tangible, hands-on things to consider when you are choosing the city that you want to launch your career or perhaps grow an already established career. Research and visits is at the top of the list. Before making a decision, you must visit potential cities to get a feel for the environment and the lifestyle. Research local acting communities, industry presence, and the quality of life. Also, budget planning. It's important to create a detailed budget that includes housing, utilities, transportation, and other living expenses. Make sure your income can support your chosen location. Now, you might want to choose some temporary living to start. Consider starting with a short-term rental or a sublet to test out living in a new city. Hey, listen, perhaps you have some relatives, some friends that you could crash for a little while. Those would be amazing only because you'd be saving a lot of bucks while having an opportunity to experience what that city has to offer. Before committing to a long-term lease or a purchase, it just makes sense to crash on somebody's sofa for just a little bit of time. Kind of makes sense. Next on that list, of course, when you're visiting that city is really checking out the networking opportunities. You could really take a look at local acting groups. You could attend industry events and connect with other actors in the area to build your network and learn about local opportunities. You could also make sure you connect with those union reps. Union representation in some of those larger cities can really be helpful in terms of getting you connected to people within the industry. There are all kinds of free industry events taking place in some of the larger markets. Flexibility and openness is something else to discuss. Be open to adjusting your plan as your career evolves. Now, listen, it's very common that you may start in one city and find that relocating another becomes beneficial as your career progresses. So let's wrap this up. Deciding where to live as an actor is a significant and personal choice that can greatly influence your career and your lifestyle. By considering factors such as career opportunities, cost of living, quality of life, and networking potential, you can make an informed decision that supports your professional goals and personal well-being. Whether you choose a bustling industry hub or a growing secondary market, finding the right home base can be a pivotal step in your acting journey. I hope you found this helpful. I'm so glad that you stayed with me all the way through to the end, no less. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Casting Actors Cast.